Hello and welcome to actually the first episode of Optimize, a great new show on a great new network called Emerge TV. I am David Mammano, your host. And for my first guest, I want to have somebody that I would feel very comfortable with because she's a longtime friend, Beth Buchanan-Delforte. How are you?
Good.
Do you like how I did the Delforte?
You did it great.
A little Italian.
Yeah, got a little accent in there.
A little accent.
Nice
So we won't say the full name too many times. Beth Buchanan-Delforte. You are with Greenlight Network, right?
Correct.
So tell me. Well, so first I want to learn a little bit more. We're going to get into Greenlight and the whole works and what you're doing there. Your official title, by the way, is VP of Talent Optimization and Development. So that's a cool title.
Yep, it sure is. You read it. You did it correctly.
I wrote that down just to be safe. But so first and foremost, welcome to the show and thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. I'm really looking forward to it.
My first guest.
I'm super excited.
I appreciate that. So I want to learn a little bit more and have our viewers learn a little bit more about you.
Sure.
You've been in HR for a while. Tell us about your path. How did you get to where you are today?
I'll try to keep it short because I have a long path. In the interest of time, I'll try to sum it up for you. So I started early in my career actually working for a temp agency, doing temp placement, and that's really how I got my start. From there, I was really fortunate enough, I moved to Frontier Communications at the time, and I spent about 12 years there, mainly in talent acquisition, and I did some work in employee relations as well. From there, there was a lot of and there still is a lot of movement in the telecommunications industry. So when that company changed a few times, I left and started my own consulting business, which I did for about, I'm going to have my years a little off, probably maybe 7 to 8 years doing my own thing. Greenlight became one of my clients. So I was there on a consulting basis for about maybe 8 or 9 months where I decided to hang up my shingle and became a regular full-time employee there. So now I've been at Greenlight since 2018.
Wow, okay. So it's one of those instances where the client liked the consultant so much.
Right.
They're like, we want you.
Right, and vice versa. I liked it there so much, I decided I'd be a fool to not take the opportunity in front of me. So.
That's fantastic. So the word talent, I think a lot of people outside the industry don't really connect with that word yet because it's kind of a newer term. It's kind of in my opinion, it's from the outside in, it seems like a fancier term for people.
Right.
Right? Like instead of people optimization or just talent, we're going to optimize our talent.
Right.
How did any idea of when it started changing? Because I remember in the 80s, HR used to be called personnel.
Right.
And then it became HR, right? And now, and so the words are getting, I think they're a little bit more heart-centered when you think about it, right? So when did the word talent start getting popular?
I feel like I was a talent acquisition manager when I was at Frontier / Global Crossing / Citizens. So I feel like that term has been around probably since the early 2000s. Okay. But you just hear it. It was originally, I think, in my opinion, more tied to recruiting, right? If you were a talent acquisition manager, you were recruiting. Now I think you're more referring to is you see that word a lot more in the overall HR function, right? Internally in HR, you talk a lot about, to your point, talent development. It's not who are you bringing into the organization, but how are you developing that talent internally? What talent do you need to bring into the organization? So I think that's maybe more the switch that you're thinking of.
Yeah.
It always originally was associated more with that recruiting function. Now you hear a lot more about it internally within the organization because it's a big deal, right?
Yeah.
Like how are you managing your talent internally?
Yeah.
Not so much how are you bringing in talent externally, obviously is very critical too, but I think that word now is a lot more interchangeable internally as it is with external talent. Does that make sense? Did I explain that well?
You said it very well. You said it very well.
In my opinion.
Yeah. No, I think it's a fact. And I think it's a more complimentary word than like workers or employees.
Right.
It's like, it's kind of a compliment, like you're the talent, right?
Right.
It's almost like you're on, you're coming to work, like you're the talent. We want to optimize you. We want you to be your best.
Right.
Like your role is this and you're the talent. Let's make it happen.
I totally agree with you because I tell people like you're here, sometimes people can get, and not every day is a good day in anybody's job, right? You might feel one day that you're not, maybe you're underperforming, maybe you're not meeting expectations, and you have to remind people, like, we hired you for a reason, right? Like, you're here, because you are bringing something to the table, so don't forget that,
Yeah.
right? So I have that conversation actually quite a bit with people.
Yeah.
If you're working at a company, there was something about you that company felt they needed. You are
Yeah.
bringing something to the table. So when you show up every day, that's important to remember.
Yeah.
You're contributing to that organization with that talent that the company
Yeah.
identified they need, and you have.
Yeah. Well, that's a really good point, because I think that gets lost today with a lot of the extras that companies are doing, right? The foosball tables and
Right.
all this great fun stuff, which is nice, icing on the cake, but it's a two-way street. Like you said, the talent is getting paid to do a job. And if you do it well, ideally, the company's going to do well, and you'll enjoy the job more, and you might get a raise next year, and
Right.
keep your job, right? And so, and in turn, the company has a responsibility to, give that talent the best they can, so that it's a total win-win.
Right. So, this is a topic I could talk a lot about. I do believe that, right? Like, you're coming in to do a job that needs to get done for the company to function, right? So when you're coming in every day, that's that first obligation, right? Are you doing the job that you're getting paid to do? But I also feel, and I think anybody, I think it's a common thing people would agree with, an employee is going to perform better and come to work and be able to fulfill those jobs better if they don't have a lot of other things weighing them down, right? So, at Greenlight, we try hard, and there's always room to do better. So by no means am I saying, we're knocking it out of the park. We try to provide different types of support services. So when employees come in, if they've got, and we all have different things going, everyone has things in their life that they're dealing with, financial. Elder care is a big thing right now. Maybe you're dealing with some child care issues. Maybe your child is struggling, whatever that issue is that we all have.
Yep.
How can we come alongside our employees to help them deal with those things, so that when they come in, they're not having that stress over their head of all these external things that's taking them away from their job. So
Right.
we try, I'm not saying we're perfect at it, but we try very, very hard to come alongside of our employees and identify what those issues are and provide supports for those through different things.
Yeah, it's good to think about how things have changed. I'll say it's interesting to think about how things have changed the past, 50, 75 years. Like, my grandfather, came from Italy, laid bricks, did the job, got paid. Don't think he, was too concerned about having a foosball table at work or all these extra benefits. Just wanted to just appreciated a good paycheck. Now, fast forward 50 years, et cetera, there's more responsibilities. Like, the roles have changed for everybody. There's more responsibilities
Right.
from both sides, from the mother and the father, and it requires more flexibility. And you could argue that the world today, there's more mental health issues that we're at least willing to address and help and talk about.
Right.
And so the workplace really has responsibility in the effort to optimize the talent, is to provide as many services as they can,
Right.
to make it a great place to work.
Right.
And in turn, the responsibility of the talent is to maximize their role and do the best job that they can.
Right. And I think I'm of the belief people want to come in and do a good job,
Yeah.
right? Like, no one strives to come into their job every day and be a low performer,
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
that's just, so we try to, like I said, come alongside and make sure people have whatever resources we can help them with so that they can come in and do that.
Yeah, I love that. Great conversation. It's so interesting.
I
Yeah.
I
You
could
could
talk
talk
about this
forever.
stuff all day long. As people in my office know, they come into my office and they're like, oh, no, I'm trapped.
Yeah. That's okay. I'm sure they enjoy talking to you. So Greenlight, tell me a little bit more about Greenlight Network. What do you guys do?
So we are a fiber to the home company. Now, keep in mind, I'm in HR, so I'm not going to give you the most technical of descriptions. But I mean, long story short, we're providing, we're offering, the communities that we're in, a competitive service, right? So a choice, right? So you're not locked into the cable company, the phone company, and we're providing a better, faster, cheaper internet experience.
Yeah.
I mean, that's very simplistically.
Yep.
So,
yeah. So, and I hear great things about it. And it's not offered where I live yet, but
well, that's same with me, right? Like, and you don't have a choice. It's frustrating, right?
Right.
We live in America. Like, we shouldn't be forced to only have one provider,
Exactly.
where it doesn't matter what they charge you, because internet now is, let's be honest, we learned during COVID, it's a necessity.
Yep.
It's not a luxury. Like you have to have it.
Yeah. To work, to go to school,
and
etc.
so how fair is it when you only have one person, that one company that can give it to you, and you're at the mercy of whatever prices they're doling out?
Yep. Yeah, monopolies are supposed to be a bad thing in America.
Right. So I'm really proud of the work that we've done and some of the communities we're going into. It's exciting.
Yeah. Well, now we just need you to get into the energy business so we can get rid of that monopoly. But that's a whole nother story.
That's a whole nother. Let's stay on topic.
Yeah, we'll focus on what you do. So Greenlight Network, I've heard wonderful things about it. And I know Tom Golisano, our local Rochester legend, who has done great things, was an early investor, and I believe he's cashed out, right?
Right.
And you guys continue to grow. But what a great start to have such a incredible mind,
really?
In helping get that company. Now, I know when Tom invests, he not only invests money, but he invests his mind, which is a very savant mind when it comes to business, right? So yeah, that's fantastic.
Yep.
So your role, as we talked about, is to make it a great place to work. And what are some of the things that Greenlight does to make people just like say, you know what, I love where I work, and I got a speeding ticket going to work today because I love it that much. What do you do to make that happen?
I think it's a collective group of things. I think number one, we have a very talented employee base, right? Like I think the most important thing for anybody in professional growth is to be around people that make you smarter and better, right? Yep. And I think we collectively have an employee base that is just so highly talented. They're people, I'm talking about all locations, all positions. You come in and the people there want to be there, and they're working hard and they're knowledgeable. And those are the people that bring energy to a workplace. So when I walk in every day, I genuinely I'm excited to be around the people that I'm around. We have an exceptional leadership team. I'm so fortunate to work with such a smart, talented group of leaders. So that makes a big difference too. When you have people that know what they're doing at the top, that care, that send the right message, that live out the values, that all trickles down. I'm a huge believer in, leader, what's the word I'm looking for? It comes from the top down, right? That phrase, right?
Absolutely.
So that would be the second thing. The third thing is, I think that everyone there understands and cares about the mission, right? Like how I said, it's great to work for a place where you feel like you're able to offer, customers a great service that's saving them money and providing them with a way better experience. I think people buy into the vision, they buy into our mission. That's very important. And then, thirdly, we try to do all the things you might hear about from other places, right? We try to pay competitive salary. We have, we're always looking at our benefits, and we have a pretty, and maybe I'm biased because I oversee it, we have a pretty vibrant wellness and engagement function where we try, to infuse some of those other things that we talked about earlier in terms of support, and then engagement, obviously, is my code word for fun. Yep. some fun into the day in whatever fashion that looks like. And we try to, not that I want to get into the weeds with our wellness program, but every month we're doing something, and then every quarter we're doing something. So it's a monthly and quarterly type things that are either educating on wellness initiatives, doing some type of engagement event, bringing people together. I could walk you through all the specific examples. And then there's that community outreach component too as well that I think is important for employees to feel like they're able to give some things back to the communities which we service.
You support that as well. So if they want to volunteer in the community, you support that?
Well, through the Wellness and Engagement Committee, we do, right? So we'll support different not-for-profits. We'll do different volunteering with some organizations we're affiliated here in Rochester. And really my hope is as we get into these other markets, I'm able to take that footprint that we've built here and put that into Binghamton, Buffalo, Albany, and some of our newer markets we're going into.
That's fantastic. Do you guys, when you are hiring people, and when they get hired, how do you guys assess? Is it the right fit for the right role? Are they working with the right people? Is there any type of procedure or process for that?
I don't know if it's anything super unusual or different that we do than other companies. We have a recruiting function that rolls up underneath me. We try hard. I'm actually having a new recruiter start in a couple of weeks. We try hard to make sure, to me, you have to pull your applicants in from different places, right? Because if you are pulling in from different places, you're going to have a more diverse slate of candidates to choose from. And when you have a more diverse of candidates to choose from, that is going to increase your diversity. And that word is broad, right? We all know that. You're going to increase the diversity presence in your workforce, and we all know what that translates into. The more diverse your workforce, the more diverse your thought process is, the better off your business is going to be. I mean, that's been proven time and time again. So I don't know if I got off track of your question.
No, that's perfect. Yeah.
I mean, I think to me, if you're going to ask me about talent acquisition and bringing people into the company, I'm going to tell you the answer is, you have to make sure that you're proactively pulling talent in from different places, right? If you're always, putting your job out on Indeed, you're only getting those people that look at Indeed, right? So where are you pulling your people in from? And then how are you vetting that talent once they're in there? But if you don't even have the pool to start with, or your pool is all exactly the same, that's not really going to help the business in the long run.
Well, and there's so many things that you, in your role, you need to think about is getting the right people in, matching them to the right job, engaging them, optimizing their performance, which leads to retention, and in today's world, as we're coming off COVID, retention has been a big issue.
You're singing my song.
But from what I understand, you guys have a good retention rate, so congratulations.
We do. I mean, I look at churn very, very closely, so I could really get you into the weeds on that if you wanted to. I will tell you, the past couple months, we've seen a very slight spike, and we've made some organizational changes with one of our groups, and I think sometimes change can be hard, but overall, our churn trends lower than what I track from an industry perspective.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, and I think what I'm taking as far as what you just said about optimizing the workplace experience and the talent is it does start from the top down. Right. You can have all the great ideas and strategies and processes, foosball tables in every corner. But if it's not stemming from leadership and trickling down, like they have to, the team needs to see that they're talking the talk. And they're walking the walk, right? So they're doing both, right? I love this Sicilian phrase that a fish rots from the head down. So if the leader is rotten, there goes the rest, right?
That's a good phrase.
So
I'm try to work that in somewhere today.
I was. It was perfect. It was a great layup. But if the head is bad, there goes the rest of the organization. But conversely, if the head, the leadership team is great, then there goes the rest of that organization. So it sounds like you and the rest of the executive team are doing the right things to really encourage and engage and optimize the team to put forth a great culture and a great product. But
you know what what I always say around things like that is, there's what's great about the culture and making things better and all those things you just talked about is you can always do better, right? You can always find something to improve upon it. The biggest thing to me is it important to the leadership team and do they care about it? Because if it's not important to them and they don't care about it, you're going nowhere. I'm not saying we're doing everything perfectly. I'm saying I know that our leadership team feels it's important and they care about it. And then at least you can start moving some of these things forward. Are they going to be perfect? Are employees going to roll their eyes at some of my wellness initiatives? Probably. But so you can always... There's always work to be done. You can always make it better. You can always improve upon it. It's never going to be perfect. But if you don't have those two things, that if people don't feel it's important and people don't care about it, you're going nowhere.
Continuous improvement.
Continuous improvement.
The word, we were talking about Japanese words this morning here at the office. Ever heard the word Kaizen?
Oh, sure.
Kaizen.
I spent a lot of years in manufacturing.
Kaizen.
I'm all about Kaizen.
It's the only Japanese word I know.
I would have said it Kaizen, though. I would have put the emphasis differently.
Well, you're saying it more Italian, like, Kaizen. I mean, but you're probably right. But in English, we can agree, right? It means continuous improvement, right? And so you can always be better.
Yes, I'm always talking about that at work, actually, because we don't, that's a huge manufacturing, concept, right? Continuous improvement, Lean Six Sigma, Kaizen events, DMAIC, whatever word you want to throw around it. In technology, you don't have some of those disciplines really ingrained in it. And so I always think wow, it'd be great if we could get like a Six Sigma green belt, black belt person in here to kind of lean out some of our processes.
Yeah.
So I'm a big believer.
Now you're going deep. Look
Yeah,
at
I'm
this.
going deep. I'm a big believer in continuous improvement.
That's fantastic. Well, Beth Buchanan-Delforte
Yes.
from Greenlight Network, this has been fantastic.
It really has been.
And congratulations for all the great work you're doing, and I wish you continued massive success.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, and thank you everybody for watching the first Optimize show, which is a show on Emerge TV Network. So glad you joined us. Stay tuned for many more shows to come.